Prophecy. We create the content.
Check one, check two. Good evening, world. I am your host this week, Scott Free, taking you through 2 hours of drum and bass and jungle right here on CIUT 89.5 FM. The Prophecy in its new time slot, Friday evenings, 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. At ScottFree_DJ on Twitter, Instagram, Mixcloud, Scott Free on Facebook. Is my first time at the helm on a Friday evening, kicking it off with the sounds of Need for Mirrors. Yes. Right into the Liquid Sound vibes right here on Friday evening. Still getting used to saying that. Sounds of Foreign Concept in the background. This one, Have On Me. Out now on 1985 Music. The one before this, the sounds of Saddle, Never Far, on his new release on the North Quarter, Bedroom Producer with a Dream. And like I said, kicked off this week's broadcast with the sounds of Need for Mirrors, with the title track of their EP, Game of Tones, on their own Zoltar imprint. Once again, I am your host this week, Scott Free. Coming in next with the sounds of Big Papa Lens, the Don Dada of the North Quarter. Keep it locked. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Get the coordinates set. Yes, like I said, this one, Lensman Yasukuni, on his recent release on his own imprint, The North Quarter. Gonna hit you back-to-back Lensman. One coming in with Fox on Fox's recent LP on The North Quarter. Squang Dang in the keys of vibes. Keep it locked at ScottFree_DJ on Twitter, Instagram, Mixcloud, Scott Free on Facebook. And don't forget to follow The Prophecy at Prophecy FM on Instagram to be up to date with the entire schedule and all things relevant to our hosts and our community.
Zion thing. Hear them a talk about Lion King. The laugh come and know a beer lion thing. A beer dirty snake out here a weird lion skin. No fear them but keep one eye on them. Vision see clear, too many fake Iron Men. Them get too close like clothes off an iron them. Cyanide vibe for the lie them. But the agents sent by the tyrants, them not engage with nothing but violence. So the soundtrack now is sirens, followed by firing, followed by the same old scene this tiring. The only thing that changes your days expiring. No Xavier, X-Men flying in. Be your own savior, I guess otherwise thing. Dark times, but I'm straight up vibes in. Never let nobody let my flames them die. Heartbreak, but I'm still here thriving. Them can't break me, but still them try. Dark times, but I'm straight up vibes in. Never let nobody let my flames them die. Heartbreak, but I'm still here thriving. Them can't break me, but still them try. Bye, 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 bye. I'm straight up vibes in. Never let nobody let my flames them die. Heartbreak, but I'm still here thriving. Them can't break me, but still them try. Dark times, but I'm straight up vibes in. Never let nobody let my flames them die. Heartbreak, but I'm still here thriving. Them can't break me, but still them try.
into the sounds of the master that is Caliber. Went into the vaults back to 2013. This one, Dema Beats, out on his Spill album. Like I said, the one before, Fox, produced by Lensman, entitled Lion Ting. And now into the sounds of Caliber. Once again, Scott Free at the helm of this week's edition of The Prophecy. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Get the coordinates set. 89.5 FM. Tune in radio app. www.ciut.fm. Get them tuned in. Tell them we're rolling nothing but beautiful beats out here. Yeah, I want to take a moment to shout out my fellow Prophecy co-hosts, Mr. Brown, Valiant MC, Polaris. Big shouts to all of our longtime listeners that have migrated with us from the Sunday evening time slot where we were for 25 years. And now here we are on Friday evenings. Shouts to any brand new listeners. We're grateful to have you join us on this journey. Sounds of Channel in the background. And that's with 2 N's and 2 L's. This one's entitled Less Talk. Out now on Underground. Maybe I should take a hint. Now into the sounds of Alex Perez. This one entitled Blank Pages, out on their own 1985 imprint on the Atlas Various Artists compilation. The foreign concept tune I played earlier, Have On Me, is also from that same compilation, so definitely worth going to check out. Some other favorite artists are on there. Echo Brown, I'm going to play a remix by them next. And Sounds of Visages is on there. Lots of good stuff.
I know you won't leave me, but I refuse to let you go.
We ain't even gotta ask. If I'm up to the task, I'll push this pen true. Tough times never last, but rather tough men do. Days of future past, do it right like 10-2. Got my present in my grasp, we ain't even gotta ask. If I'm up to the task, I'll push this pen true. Any candy memories sitting on the stoop. 12-block radius, that was the farthest we could true. Way before rocking them aiming breaks up on the loop. I shoveled out my neighbors to acquire extra loot. WSBK, watching the Celtics play. I was a bigger ball control, according to stay. With my 2, came to 11, ended with a tray. Street lights coming on, signal the end of the day. Spent time in the street, perfecting my kick flip. Trying to make that trick stick. Pops rolling that dip quick. Never had my lips slip, only love for the brave. Kid, I know how it went down and I'ma take it to the grave. Champion hoods, hitting French with stock caps. Deep brown pumps, started coats and socks hats. Trauma was inevitable, no way to stop that. My past made my present, the future can't block that.
Those days long gone, but my love shines through. Lifting me as I travel, that's my whole life through. My perfection in my past, you don't even have to ask. If it ever comes to pass, I'll push this pen true.
Tough times never last, but rather tough men do. Days of future past, do it right like 10-2. Got my present in my grasp, we ain't even gotta ask. If I'm up to the task, I'll push this pen true.
Those days long gone, but my love shines through. Lifting me as I travel, that's my whole life through. My perfection in my past, you don't even have to ask. If it ever comes to pass, I'll push this pen true.
Tough times never last, but rather tough men do. Days of future past, do it right like 10-2. Got my present in my grasp, we ain't even gotta ask. If I'm up to the task, push this pen true. Push this pen true. Push this pen true. Push this pen true. I'll push this pen true. Push this pen true. I'll push this pen true.
Let's just put it like that.
Yes. So the one before this, you may have heard it on these airways before. Cyberposix with my fellow co-host Valiant MC. That one entitled Sepia. And that is the Echo Brown remix, out now on Focus. And now into the sounds of Jomari. This one entitled Crossroads, out now on Deviant Audio. Shouts to Jomari. Shouts to Stranger. Shouts to Tyr. Shouts to Anastasia. Anastasia's album, the newest single, a collaboration with the Badman Nympho. Gonna be playing a Nympho tune in the second hour, so be on the lookout for that. Big love to the Deviant Audio crew. This Jomari EP is amazing. Go look for it. Gonna play probably all the cuts from it this week. If you're new to the broadcast, if you're a Friday evening listener and you're just joining us for the first time, you'll notice each of our hosts, myself, Mr. Brown, Valiant MC, and Polaris have distinct styles to how we approach this broadcast. But it's the full spectrum of drum and bass and jungle. We hope you enjoy it. And for our longtime fans, you know the deal. You know the 411. So again, thank you for tuning in, Friday evening listeners. We appreciate your support as always. Back in the mix.
Let's just put it like that. Let's just put it like Let's just put it like that.
Now into the sounds of Schematic. This one entitled Escape. Out now on his Schematic Sound imprint. Shouts to Dan. Big fan of Dan's, obviously, of those who've been listening to this broadcast for a while. Jeez, I'm trying to find the right spot on this mic. Where are you? Dang. Anyways, coming back into the sounds. Bookending this with some Jamari. Gonna hit you with another one next. Keep it locked right here. Scott Free in the mix. Rolling it out nice and smooth for the first hour this week. Yeah, like I said, this one, Jomari. Entitled Cycles. I believe this is the title track from his EP, out now on Deviant Audio. So make sure you go search it out. Deviant Audio, Jomari, man's a killer. Yeah, just about 15 minutes left in the first hour of this week's broadcast of The Prophecy. Going out to the West Coast with this one, Sounds of Leverage. This one entitled Karma. Gonna come in next with the sounds of Reflector. Making sure I show love to the Canadian artists within the drum and bass and jungle community. Leverage have been on the map for me since the Future Sound of Canada EP that came out on Hospital. Fantastic producers. Like I said, this one's entitled Karma. Make sure to check them out.
Yeah, a silver lining. In this darkness, you're the light that I will dive in. I'm captivated, lost in your charm. I'm gravitating, I'm disarmed. This rising, perfect imperfection I behold. Breaking all of the rules. You're a work of art. I'm making eyes at you, and I'll take your heart. I'm changing the shape in the room, baby. I really like your style. I set my mind on you. Before you make me stop. Why don't we forget time for a while? I'll be yours and you'll be mine. We'll forget the rest for a while. I will fall into your eyes. Crystal blue, these lanes that break the rules of life. We're all a star. We'll look forever, your work of art.
Yeah, as I noted, this one, the sounds of Reflector. Perfect Imperfection with Leo Wood on the vocals. Reflector have a tune on the new Symmetry Various Artists LP that is out now. Shouts to Break for putting some Canadian artists on there. Shouts to Alex, one half of Reflector. Coming in next with Anastasia.
You're breaking all of the rules. And you're a work of art. I'm making eyes at you, so I can steal your heart. When you're changing the shape and you're making the rules, baby. I think I like your style. I'm setting my mind on you. Keep it locked. 89.5. Keep it locked. 89.5. Keep it locked. 89.5.
Hey, yo, lately you've been so flaky. Why you say yes when you really mean maybe? Calling me your best friend, well, I don't think you're genuine, so don't blame me. If it was so real, I would know. I would feel it in my soul. I wouldn't be so skeptical. If it was so real, I would know. I would feel it in my soul. I wouldn't be so skeptical. No. Just tryna focus on my grind, tryna make time. We no longer seem to align. You just wanna chill, I can't stand still. I didn't leave you behind.
So yeah, rounding out the first hour with this one, sounds of David Keith featuring JD, All My Love, Imran Graffiti on the remix. Put this one away for a couple weeks, had to bring it back, absolute personal favorite. The one before this, like I said, Anastasia on the vocals, and at the pen, Malaki or Malachi with a funky spelling on production. That one's entitled Skeptical. Shouts to Anastasia, absolute amazing talented artist right here in Toronto. She's got an album coming out on Deviant Audio. Be on the lookout for that. She goes by the new alias Flow Anastasia. So Flow Anastasia if you're looking out for her work. So like I said, rounding out hour one, Scott Free been in the mix at ScottFree_DJ on Twitter, Instagram, Mixcloud, Scott Free on Facebook. Make sure you're following Prophecy on Instagram as well, at Prophecy FM. And make sure if you're not a member of the Prophecy group, ask to join, facebook.com/groups/The Prophecy and the letters DNB. So once again, facebook.com/groups/The Prophecy DNB. One more hour to go. We're going to kick it up a little bit. Keep it locked on the other side of the ads.
Love for it all, don't wanna fall. Making the
create the content. We don't follow the flow, we create it. 89.5 FM, Real Radio.
Jumping sounds again.
Into hour two now, hitting you back to back with the sounds of the General Marcus Visionary. First tune entitled Don't Play, and this one dedication on the upcoming release on Inner City Dance. Shouts to Marcus, shouts to DJ Lush, the curators of that impeccable label based right out of here in Toronto. One more hour to go. Drum and Bass and Jungle on the FM airways in Toronto on the most unique radio station in North America with the most diverse radio programming. CIUT 89.5 FM. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend if you haven't already. Get the coordinates set. 89.5 on the FM radio. www.ciut.fm on the internet, the TuneIn Radio app. We are available on all platforms, even those with the Rogers digital cable box. You scroll all the way down where probably you'll find us. We got jungle, we got some neuro, we got some heaviness for the second hour. Let's get it going.
Sometimes and every day we stay positive. Some days you win, some you lose. Yeah, this in a city blue. Some days you get and some days you give. Some days you up, some you down. Careful, lose around you can't always forget nor forgive. Reflecting on life, do what you do to survive. Know yourself and know your more. Stay climbing, aspire for the best. Evaluate what matters, how we measure success. Stress gets us down, we bounce back, how we blessed. Hand up on my heart or a fist up on my chest. Never gonna give up, never gonna second guess. Life goes on, gotta complete that quest. Play the game, write the rules with the rest. We gotta know ourselves in order to pass this test. That's the way it goes sometimes, and every day we stay positive. Some days you win, some you lose. Yeah, this in a city blue. Some days you get and some days you give. Some days you up, some you down. Careful, lose around you can't always forget nor forgive. Reflecting on life, do what you do to survive. Know yourself and know your motive. This is how
Yeah, we're kicking it up a notch, just like I said we were. This one, Iris and Quadrants, Cold Brew.
I know this must feel very strange.
The one before this, Trex with Ryder Shafiq, Undergrowth.
Ordinary is just what
Gonna hit you back to back with Iris and Quadrant. The next one, a big remix out now. Centered around one of the most important producers in drum and bass.
ordinary.
This one, Sounds of Genic, as part of their debut LP on Dispatch. This one's entitled Uncertainty. It was on the LP sampler. The one before this, like I said, Future Cut and Marcus Intellect's Plastic, the Iris and Quadrant remix. So that gave you the back-to-back Iris and Quadrant. They're based out of Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. Great production duo. This Genic album is amazing. I believe it's entitled Rough Nights. There's some absolute stompers on there. Go check it out. So yeah, this one, I kind of alluded to it earlier in the broadcast. This is the sounds of Nympho. This one entitled Unpleasant Surprise. And it's part of the Sofa King Sick Chapter 3 Various Artist LP. Out now on Sofa Sounds. Big shouts out to DLR. I mean, as a producer, he's right up there right now. And as a label curator, owner, the talent that come through that label is unmatched.
One unpleasant surprise before we're done.
So this one, my big bro played a couple weeks ago on the first Friday evening of the Prophecy. This one, Monty and Alex Perez, Untitled Malware. Hit us up if you got a hit with the Untitled Malware before, at Prophecy FM on Instagram. Drop us a DM. How bad was it? How much money did you have to shell out? Or did you just unplug? Or did you throw your phone away? What did you do? Like I said, the one before this, Nympho, Unpleasant Surprise. And bookending that, as I played Monty before that, alongside Visages, entitled Polar Wind. So some 1985 representation in this part of the second hour of the Prophecy this Friday evening, brought to you by myself, Scott Free, at ScottFree_DJ on Twitter, Instagram, Mixcloud. I'm going to put down the mic because I got to get back in the mix, and man, I am fighting a sneeze. Jeez. So this is the third and final cut from Jamari's new EP on Deviant Audio. This one entitled Rover. Absolute stinker. Once again, big shouts to Jamari. Absolute fire EP, sir. Salute to you. All killer, no filler. I mean, I don't want to do a Sum 41 joke, but I mean, you know, it's apt. All killer, no filler. 3 tunes, all top tier. Yes, hit you with some Toronto business 3 times in a row, like I played Jamari, as I noted. Then I came in with DJ Swindler, that one entitled The Sight, out now on Dutty Bass Audio. Big shouts to Quick Draw and the whole Dutty Bass Audio crew. This one, Scales in the Junkie, entitled Domination. Big shouts to Brad and Desi. Yeah. So like I said, this one that just faded out, sounds of Scales in the Junkie, Domination. Want to make sure I send a big shout out to the Fat 32 Studios crew. Should have done it a little earlier in the broadcast, but I do want to make sure I get it in now. I was on their live stream last night with the big homies, Pristine, MCZ, and the absolute legend that is Caddy Cad. But big shouts to the Fat 32 Studios crew, Scott, Jess Dunn, DJ Fractal, Hawk and Lube, the whole crew, absolute top level individuals doing amazing things. Always so honored to join them. Next weekend, I'm going to be doing a set in the afternoon on Toronto Islands. You know, keeping it low key, don't want too much, you know, exposure. If you're interested, lots of talented DJs, breaks, jungle, house. You hit me up, I'll send you the coordinates. But let's not blow up this spot. You dig? Apologies for that. So, bringing it down a little as we close out this week's edition of The Prophecy. But just want to make sure I send a word out there. I kind of noted about something going on next weekend, but tomorrow in the great city of Toronto, there is an event. Last Planet crew, the Department of Civilian Dance. Love it. So go search out Last Planet, stack lineup of some absolute personal favorites. Big shouts to Drew Hale. Got the sounds of Amon, Freeze It Chin, Jomari, Typical Cat, Dan Only, Litany Spears, Mr. Mustashi, The Redliners. So go search out Last Planet on social media. I believe it's Last Planet Limited on Instagram, Last Planet on Facebook. Get the details. Sounds of Need for Mirrors in the background. This one entitled Refractory, out on their EP on Sun and Bass. The one before this, T95 and Operate, Set You Free. And the one before that, Cardinal Sound and Mistrust. We got just under 10 minutes left in this week's edition of The Prophecy. Make sure you are following us on Instagram at Prophecy FM. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/The Prophecy and the letters DNB, The Prophecy DNB. And once again, selfishly at ScottFree_DJ, Instagram, Twitter, Mixcloud. Sounds of Data 3. This one entitled Fission. This is the second last tune. Playing one more after this, so I'm signing out now. It's been my absolute pleasure to host my very first Friday edition of The Prophecy. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back here next Friday, 10 p.m. to 12 midnight, the new time slot. Like I said, this one, Data 3, entitled Fission. Sending you out with the sounds of DLR.
With our Curiosity rover. In 2020, we're going to send a new rover to Mars that's going to move us even further forward towards understanding Mars' habitability and performing some initial experiments to get us ready to send humans to Mars. We're working every day up on the International Space Station with our astronauts to understand the long-term effects of spaceflight on human health so we can get astronauts to Mars safely and return them back here to Earth. 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 Journey to Mars.